Hey peeps, DJMK here, and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to do something a little bit different today. This time I'm going to be playing something from my childhood, from the Game Boy Advance era. Well, in case you're wondering why a different setting, it's because I'm playing this in my living room, because I'm trying a bit of a different setup this time, so I hope you enjoy it. So, in case you're wondering, like, what am I playing today? Why is my setup so different? It's because I'm playing something from my childhood, specifically back in 2001 when I was 9 years old. Game Boy Advance just came out, and at the same time, a game which I consider one of the best ones of that console, of that generation, besides Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories. We can debate on that later. Called Lady Sia. In fact, fun fact, Lady Sia is actually a portion of my username. So my nickname is Tonders. And then part of my name comes from the game Lady Sia. So, Sia. And then I added an H at the end to make it look cool. So, Tonder Sia. So, that's how my PlayStation ID came to be. I actually came up with that name while playing Soul Calibur 4. I had a character inspired by Tira that I used in the character creation toolbar, and I actually had some like comic ideas as to what she would be doing and how she got her powers and stuff, but of course that never came through. I mean, plus I was a kid, let's face it, like I was not really that motivated. I mean, well, by kid I mean 17, but excuse me, but I mean, I wasn't really serious back then, so, I mean, I sketched a lot of character designs to what she would be doing and what kind of world she'd be occupying, but I never really got serious in terms of actually writing a story about her. But in case you're curious about what she looked like and what mods I used on her, feel free to comment in the chat box below to find out what I used on her, which is it was pretty cool. I really liked her outfit. That's the one thing I missed from that. But yeah, so I'm doing a little bit different today. I'm actually broadcasting in my living room, and I'm actually using my TV as a second monitor. It's the first time doing this, but it works really, really well. It's really impressive, and plus I can focus on chat on the laptop while playing the game on my monitor, just like I would with my console games. It's great. I'm not at the capability where I could use console games just yet, but this will give me that console game feeling. So before I begin, let me give you a little bit of a history of Lady Sia. So Lady Sia was released by TDK Entertainment and RDX Publishing Company, and it covers the story of Lady Sia, like the eponymously named character, and her adventure through the various realms in her kingdom. And it was a huge hit when it came out. These cells were hand-drawn very impressively. One of the biggest criticisms was that the background sometimes, because everything was very well drawn, you couldn't tell what was an interactive part of the background and what parts were just the background. But on the other hand, that's what made the game to me so interesting. But more so, there were other problems too, just like the platforming functions and most notably the magical powers that she gets, where you can control the elements. Because especially the fact that some of the elemental powers work a lot better when you actually have a stick, like the modern DS's or the modern controllers do, compared to the D-pads back in the Advance era. So those were two of the biggest criticisms that happened. For the most part, it was a big hit. And TDK had plans for a sequel. In fact, they had two versions they were planning out. Lady Sia 2, Sword of Sia, which is already fully developed. It even had an ESRB rating, and it was a sequel for the Game Boy Advance where it had more refined mechanics, and a Lady Sia remake for the GameCube, a la Star Fox 64 kind of thing, where you see the entire plot of the first game, but in 3D. But unfortunately, both of these games got shelved after RDV shut its doors in 2003, and then TDK got bought by 2 Point Publishing in 2003 as well, and then that in turn got bought by 2K Games 2 years later. So a leak has not been established for either one of those titles, but you can see shots of the prototypes, and like Star Fox 2, Lady Sia 2 was very, very much an almost complete game. But as of this year, there has not been a leak at all as to what the final product looks like, and it's kind of a shame because the worlds, the way they sketched it out, we actually do have some of the sprites actually, but for the most part, it's still very much under wraps. I hope, and the reason why I kind of call this Resurrection Friday, it's kind of a new thing, it's because I'm playing a game that pretty much is, at this point, considered abandonware. It's deceased to our fan base. It never got a virtual console release either, despite 2K Games still holding the rights to it. And all these things. Just, it's sad. So this is kind of my way of resurrecting this game from the dead, and hopefully, considering the luck that we've had with games like Shenmue, Kingdom Hearts 3, though Kingdom Hearts is really not a dead franchise, but I mean, considering the time that it took to get to this point, to the point where we finally get a January release date, like Duke Nukem Forever, even though granted that didn't do so well, but it was in development hell for a while, and many other titles that we thought were going to be deceased, but then they just resurrected, like SWAT Cats, and many other things. Akin to those things, I'm playing this to bring this kind of back to life, and maybe hopefully they consider bringing back the game for a 3D release, because I think nowadays that we have many retro games coming back nowadays, I think this is the time that Lady Sia was ready for. A lot of the controllers have analog sticks now, so the magical spells that did not work so well with the Advance will work a lot better now. And of course, 64 bits, 32-bit games, 16-bit stuff, it's making a comeback. With things like Shovel Knight and Castlevania and many other things. So I have hope that Lady Sia will do well now. But even if it doesn't do well, I hope nevertheless you enjoy this little bit of gaming history. Now, Lady Sia was one of the few games that I actually completed in the GBA era. The other one being... What was the other one I completed? I don't remember, but I had another one that I completed. The only one I wasn't able to complete was Chain of Memories, because Hollow Bastion, in particular, was a trial. Let me tell you. But with the 3D space of the PS3 and Chain of Memories, it has made it a lot easier to play, but it's still a challenge to play. But anyway, enough dilly-dallying. I hope you enjoyed that part of my childhood as well, kind of telling you about that. I was 9 when I played this game, and it's a great throwback just even thinking about it. So, and I surprisingly still had the skill of playing this game, despite it being quite a while back, like almost 16 years. Since I've played the game. So, I hope you all enjoyed this video, and let's get started with Lady Sia. So I'm going to restart this. So I personally have the game on I personally have the game on Advance, but I have to use an emulator for this because I don't have any proper plugins for the, what's going on? There we go. I don't have any proper plugins for the Game Boy Advance. So, gonna play this. So I started. So as you can see, I started one file, which I gotten pretty far. So here's the new story. It is an ancient time when magic still flies freely, and kingdoms are being formed. However, a terrible threat looms ahead. A violent race of beastmen who know neither fear nor pity, led by the cruel sorcerer Aminem. His minions' human kingdom. Oh gosh, this is so fast. I'll let you pause and read it. So, Lady Sia essentially is in war with the Soas, and so she's the only one from the neighboring kingdom who will even challenge this threat. But anyway, our story begins as our guests take their seats in the meeting room. And this is all hand-drawn. So, I won't tolerate this. If you can't understand now that the Soas are a threat to you, then you'll all end up their slaves. You're overreacting. They're still very far away, and I'm sure we can negotiate with them when they come. So the three people that are in the throne room are like the three elemental masters. Shark guy, I forgot his name. I think his name's Poseidon, actually. He's the element of water, obviously. The middle one is, I believe, Lady Sia's sister, and the element of air. And the one on the right, which you kind of only saw for like a few seconds because open EMU's being really fast, is Rathusa, who is the master of fire, and Lady Sia's teacher. Enough! I don't want to hear about negotiating. What is it, Advisor Bards? I'm afraid I carry bad news, Princess. A horde of Soas is camping just outside the palace. If you'll excuse me, I have your job to do. I mean, in the past, I kind of considered her being, like, very badass, but nowadays I kind of think that, like, she's very rough, very warlordish, but you know what? She was practically my idol back in the day for being so strong, because I was not a strong kid back then. And I drew a lot of stuff with her outfit too. I was very inspired by her, and her armor design, but anyway, because her armor had a skirt. That's very unheard of. I mean, well, at least, like, well, I mean, practically it's very common, but I mean, in terms of, like, women's armor, that was very rare back in the day. But anyway, off she goes. The drawings still hold up in some way. Where can they be? Right behind you. And so she is kidnapped to the Soa Kingdom. Until one moment... Thanks, but who are you? The silent type. But anyway, let's get going. Follow me, Sia. So, A is jump, B is attack. And then E is, whoops, that's shooting, oh snap! I didn't mean to do that. I kind of failed in the sneaking front, but essentially you use Q, or the left button, to sneak, and then the right button, it's another method of attack. So, but of course, because she has a regular sword, her attacks are not as elaborate. So here's a lever, which you use the up button to press. And push back down to close the door again. Though with some of them you can actually hit hit your way in. For these crystals, if you get at least, oops, I'm still not used to this. If you get at least, I believe, 12 of them, you gain an extra life. The souls have stolen your sword and ring. You can get them back from the Algambiad village and the city of Marion. Until then, keep that sword. As for your magic, I'm afraid you'll have to make do with what you can muster on your own. But yeah, she is not human. So this section where she says that she hates humans. Wait. He didn't even give me his name. But yeah, the part where she says she hates humans in like the second part of it, that's because she's not human herself. Even though the hair is kind of a good camouflage for that, she is not human by any means. She even can transform into a Sasquatch form, which you'll see in a minute. But anyway. But thank goodness for immunity frames in these kinds of games. But yeah, there's a lot of platforming sections in here too. And that's your life as well. Try to grab this ledge, jump toward it, press A button to jump. And then you can grab onto some ledges. There's a ladder. And then the ring on the side is where your magic is. So that's pretty fun. Alright. I love the music in this game. And then this is a prisoner where you can free his bonds, or her bonds, because there's some female prisoners too. And then you go down. And then if you press like towards a certain direction, like you look up, you can look up. If you look down, you can look down. Just so long as you, and then it makes it easier to look before you leap too. So kind of like that. Yeah, I remember this music so well. Because I grew up with this game. Ooh. Let go. There we go. Okay. Also, I think if you free at least 5 prisoners, you also get an extra life. And then these hooks, they pull you up and down various places, which is kind of nice. Which is, I mean, though, I've only seen it in this level. I haven't really seen it in the other ones. I just don't remember them too well. And then once you actually get further down, when you get the sword back, you actually are able to do more elaborate combos, which is pretty fun, which I will show you in a bit. And then, if you stay still in some of these instances, and then gold hearts give you complete health, and then you can crawl under stuff, which again, I haven't used that function too often. Oops. I hate these guys who like throw pumpkin bombs, or just throw stuff in general. I love the music in this game. Oh my gosh. I am so looking forward to having my full combos again because I'm so tired of this. Yeah, they're pretty generous in the first level, of course, because you're gonna make a lot of mistakes. And then here's a checkpoint as well, which will boost you up, I believe, 1 life point, or the exact same. But I think from this point onwards, this tends to be the exact same life you came in with it. So you can shoot down doors, which I've only used once, again. So, and then that ring shows you how much power you have. You have at most like 5 fully charged shots before you have to pick up one of those crystals, mithril crystals, essentially. and then you can kill enemies with the shots too, like that. Oops. Thankfully, there's no dramatic fall damage except for when you get to the further levels, where like if you go from a really, really high height, that's when you lose it. But hey, that's pretty rare, as is. Alright, going up. So that's 3:30 on for me. Oh, okay. Alright. Okay, so... Alright. So... We should have a... Actually, no, it's 20. It's 20. Never mind. Here we must part, Sia. You'll have to continue on your own. By the way, if you want your equipment back, your jade sword is in the village of Algambiade, and your family ring is in the city of Marion. Birdie! Why is this bird chained? Oh no. Don't tell me they meant to eat. They mean to eat you. There! You're free to go. What? Why don't you fly away? You want to come along? Alright, let's shake a wing. And then you get points for getting total completion. Like, it's 25 for if you have a full meter for each item. So if you have like full health, or you have full, if you have full health and a full ring, that's 50 points already. And then the other ones are based on like basically how many stones or prisoners you free, or how many stones you have. So to kind of give you, oops. So I'm gonna give you. I mean, typically, I took about 5 minutes because I'm still getting used to this setup, and I kind of wanted to show you around, but. Typically, on average, I can complete these levels in about 2.5 minutes each. So let me show you how long it took for me when I first played the game. So I'm pretty far ahead. So, okay, the first one I took 6 minutes because I was still getting used to the laptop controls. But after that, I got through it pretty fast. The Soa Airport is one of my favorite levels. The other one, and it's the only one that I've had a perfect completion on, is the Air Kingdom. And then there's the Snowy Mountain and the Walrus. The Snowy Mountain's a very notorious one. Another one is the Fire Realm. It's so evil if you don't know what you're doing. And then Myriad, which is Sia's kingdom. The Elven Forest is hard, but the Gremlins Machine, it's the worst. And this game, it's one of the few games where there's actually multiple endings to it, which is pretty cool, because that's very rare when it comes to Game Boy Advance games, is having multiple endings. And I believe there's 3 of them. So, for Lady Sia, at least. There's, like, this typical, just plain old game over end. There's one which you get if you complete, the bonus levels, and then there's one you get if you complete every single level perfectly. And by perfect, they mean 100 points. Which means you don't lose, or like you're able to build back up to perfect health. You don't lose any magic. You freed all the prisoners. You get all this, and you get most, if not all, the stones in the level. So, with some of them, it's not too hard to do. Like, the Air Kingdom, it's the easiest one to pull that off. The Water Kingdom, I've done it as well. The Fire Kingdom, hands down, is the hardest one to do it in. It's possible to get a perfect in the first level, but I don't think that one's required. The rest of them, you do have to get a perfect on those. And the Human Kingdom, it's very hard to do. The Elven and the Elven Force and the Gremlin Machine in particular, those are the hardest. And it was a good thing I had friends back then when I first played this game, because I had a couple of best friends who lived not too far from me, and I recommended this game to them, and then we started playing it together. And this was way before the internet really picked up, and we had to learn every single thing ourselves, and based on the manual that the game had. I still have it, actually. But based on those two things, we had to figure out on our own what to do with certain things. Especially when I got to the Fox Lady boss battle, because that one was tough. I managed to beat it on my second shot. They took a little bit longer, but oh man, this is a throwback. Just really felt good. But yeah, you know what? I might play some more as soon as I get back home. But today it is a jazz festival. Brian McKnight's showing up. Yesterday Arturo Sandoval played, and it was amazing. But today I'm going to be watching Arturo Sandoval. Not Arturo Sandoval. Brian McKnight. Which is really, really cool. So, if you happen to be in Delaware, check out the Clifford Brown Jazz Festival, hosted by DuPont. And they do a lot of really amazing events, all for the price of parking, which is really, really cool. Definitely go for it. But anyway, I'm gonna go to that. But thank you so much for joining me on this beautiful throwback of of a game. This was really wonderful to share this aspect of my childhood with you. But anyway, well, the song of the day is from N5X's, a French DJ. So if you want to check out any of my other stuff, here's my social media. You can donate to my Ko-fi page with all of my proceeds going towards restarting my radio show. My Twitter is also frequently updated at DJMK for life, and Tandrasia is my Discord, PlayStation Network, Steam, Twitch, and Vainglory ID. And now you know the history behind the name, so that'll be pretty cool. DJMK Off the Air is my YouTube. If you want to check out my live streams that I do and what I want to continue, check out mixler.com/DJMK on Mixler. And finally, I have a blog, mahokunoichi.blogspot.com. In terms of events I'll be attending BlurredCon in Crystal City, which will be my third time going there since the last two times I went was for Anime USA, and Baltimore Comic Con, which will be my BCC debut, September 28th to the 30th in 2018. So that'll be where I'm going to be. So I'm going to sign up now. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you next time. Bye, everybody.